Boy, Sunday was a great day to have campaign signs out.
That's just a mean thing to say.
Yeah, it's a mean thing to say, I guarantee you. It was pretty hard on them, among other things.
Good morning. It is 10:01 a.m. on Tuesday, March 17th, 2026. I call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. If everyone would please stand, Commissioner Mahler will give our invocation.
Pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today to thank you for the tremendous number of blessings that you bestow upon us each and every day. Those blessings that we don't always take time to acknowledge. It's real easy, Lord, to look at, oh, well, this is bad and that's bad and this is a little tougher than it should be. But really and truly, when you stop and think, if we have our health, if we have our family, and we already live in the greatest country, we live in a country where we can have debate, we can have discussion, and that's not true everywhere, and I think people are beginning to realize that. And Lord, we just want to thank you for that. We thank you for all the people that work very hard to take care of us, our medical personnel, our first responders, and over this past weekend, we figured out how much we appreciate our volunteer fire departments and those that protect us when things get tough. Lord, the blessings are tremendous, but the biggest one of all is the fact that we have the choice of everlasting life by believing in your precious Son, Jesus Christ. We ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Please join us for the pledge to the U.S. flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, everyone may be seated. Got no presentations this morning. A couple of faces in the audience who aren't normally here from week to week, so I'd like to welcome them. At this time, it is 10:03. We will open up for public comments. I remind everyone that public comments have to be limited to 5 minutes or less. Commissioners Court cannot take action on any item brought up during public comment. Do we have any public comments this morning? Go ahead and come forward, ma'am. If you will come to the podium and state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name is Tanya Katongole. I was told that to come to you guys to try to possibly request the adult probation department be added to the 21 CP when they come. And that's what I'm here for, just the overall structure of what's going on and how they operate and the things they do or don't do to make probationers be successful.
And
That's
be
what-
added to the, I missed that.
The 21 CP that's coming for the sheriff's department. There's a group coming from Chicago, I think it's called either CP 21 or I may have the name wrong, but they're supposed to be coming down from Chicago to.
That's Wichita Falls.
Yes. And I was told by them that the commissioner's court may be the best place to come because from what I looked up, the district judges are the ones we go to request it. But they said I may have a better chance coming here and asking you guys, so.
Okay, and Rami, how you pronounce your last name?
Katongole.
Katongole.
Yes.
Ms. Katongole, we can't engage with you on an item that's not on the Commissioner's Court agenda like this. What I would suggest you do is, if you're able to stay through the end of court, once it's over, come around and visit with one of us in the Commissioner's Court office so we can ask questions, get more details from you. I think that'd be the best way to move forward on that, or at least get more information so we understand what you're asking for.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming this morning.
Uh-huh.
All right. Do we have other public comments this morning?
Just one, Judge, and that's to thank everybody that spent the weekend chasing wildfires in the country. And I tell you, Sunday was a tough deal. I tell you, when you get 50, 60 mile an hour wind, you get one going, you just kind of have to stop and just get out of the way because it comes. But our volunteer fire departments, Johnny on the spot, our emergency management department was there, the sheriff's department was there, we had our game wardens out, everybody showed up to help. And you get to naming people, you forget somebody, but it just makes you appreciate living in a place where people come together and help out. Thanks to everyone.
Yeah. I think you speak for all of us there, Barry. And I know we'll get a little bit of an update on that from Lynn later. Other public comments this morning? No? Okay.
No news.
No news is good news. All right, it is 10:06, and we will close this time public comment. Let's move on to the consent agenda. There are 7 items on the consent agenda, 2 of which I have questions or concerns with. The first one, and what's becoming a regular feature, number 7, which is our enterprise interim interest. Gonna ask for us to table that until next week. Both Matt and Van have a meeting this afternoon with Enterprise. I try to get everybody in the room in one place for one call to hopefully get our questions answered. There has been a lot of back and forth this week, but I think we've got a right hand and left hand not knowing what is going on, and so Van and Matt asked them to get one meeting together, so that's happening. With that, is there any objection to tabling number 7, removing it from the agenda? Okay, and then I wanted to ask, our treasurer's not here, but I wanted to ask Matt if you're able to, or the commissioners that are on the investment committee, to discuss if there were any changes to the investment policy for 2026. Item number 2.
There were not any changes other than just simple formatting items and correcting words that should have been worded one way but were worded another.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
Our requirement is we had to review them annually, and so no changes.
What we were doing was working, so
Yeah.
keep it going. Okay. Perfect. That's all I had.
And Judge, I've got 2 questions.
Okay.
The first one was on 3. I didn't understand exactly what that is, the backup documentation. I see that we're receiving an invoice monthly, or quarterly for this, but what does it do?
We get reimbursed quarterly too from the state, but this is for the sheriff's office and the CDA's office for victim coordinator services.
It's, as far as I understand it, and anyone can correct me on it, it's part of a program through the Attorney General's office to allow for district attorney's offices mainly to notify victims of when someone is released from jail, from prison, or certain trigger points happen that a victim who's opted into the program might care to be notified on. This is a service that does that and notifies them, and we get a grant that reimburses us for the cost of that service. So what you see is the invoice for the service, and then we send that off and get reimbursed from the state for that cost.
And our DA has been active in keeping somebody pretty much enrolled in that for years.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going on for a good while. But you don't have anyone, do you?
We don't have one, the DA office does, and I don't know if they do it on like our family violence suspects when they're released from jail. Sometimes they'll notify the victim when they get released, when they make bond and get released.
Right. Is it similar to the sex offender notification deal? I think they still send notification out if there's
From
in
the-
your neighborhood or whatever.
From the standpoint of any notification service is gonna, largely carry out the same function.
Right.
This one is folks who, again, have opted into wanting to know that someone who's been convicted of a crime, that there's been a change in their status that a victim might want to know about.
And the second one, Judge, was I wanted to ask David about item 5 on this quote for enterprise platform and what it's actually doing or what it's involving.
I think you've gotten to be here 3 times on this deal now. Lucky you.
I've been busy, Commissioner's Court month. So we've got a quote from a software program that helps us analyze and sort through large volumes of video and documentation, and helps identify inconsistencies in those videos and reports. Basically, it helps us as lawyers hone in on important bits of discovery. As y'all know, with body cams proliferating, there's a lot more stuff to sort through on certainly on the defense side, there's a lot more stuff to look at and sort through, and it becomes very important to get through that stuff very efficiently so we don't waste the taxpayers' time, or our time is the
So
taxpayers'
this
money.
analyzes, video quicker instead of sitting there for 4 hours and watching.
That's right.
Okay.
It'll do transcriptions, translations to some degree. That's a beta, that's currently beta testing, but they gave us access to it for Spanish to English translations, which are pretty rough, but better than hiring a translator for $5,000 or $6,000 and having them come in and have to translate 4 hours of video, sitting there watching, or at least a good starting point of what we do need translated. It doesn't alleviate us from our ethical obligations to review the evidence, but it does help us identify the important bits to really hone in on, is how I would phrase how we'd use this. It is an AI-driven software, this particular one. I have personal feelings about that, but that being said, we've run through trials on this particular program and other programs. We've run it against other programs. There's some public defender specific ones that are about twice the price of this one, that do less, but they all have different data caps and stuff like this. This is an annual payment. So I expect with the cost of energy going up, that the cost will need to reevaluate next year. Our department, as well as with y'all's, come back to y'all, because I suspect it's gonna go up in price, and we're really gonna test it out this year and make sure that it's actually valuable, or not, in which case we'd abandon it next year if it's not saving us as much time as we thought it would save us.
Well, I do know that watching videos, when you don't, I used to do that a lot, and watching them minute for minute, hour for hour, trying to find something, any help that would curtail that would be beneficial.
I was somewhat pleasantly surprised and also concerned about the AI's capability to analyze nonverbal. In this case, we ran it through some body cam footage, lots of body cam footage, to test it. That was, most of the action was not people talking. And I was actually pleasantly surprised at its summary description of the events that occurred. It's like concerning on a personal, on a human level, that it's that capable of looking at visuals and being able to like summarize in words what happened in police standoffs is what we ran it through. So I think it will be very useful and time saving. Again, it doesn't alleviate us from our ethical responsibilities to review the evidence, but it will help us point us of like, this bit's important, and I really need to take a look at this in more detail.
Yeah. It's a tool like any other that can help you if you use it well.
And it's budget neutral, as it's coming out of some other line items.
Yeah, it's coming out of your department. The reason this has appeared so many times is the company actually required a commissioner's court approval to even put together the quote first. So we approved that. They got the quote back, and now we're actually approving the purchase of it.
Anything else I can help with?
All right.
Interesting.
Thanks, David.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Dave.
Any other questions?
On our.
Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Number 4, I just want to address one thing on that, because there were some questions to me whether or not that was going to be any kind of county road, or how that would be in the future. That number 4, that's for a private drive off of a county road. With Wichita Wilbarger at 911, they requested it because they ran out of numbers out there for that. But on every county road, every private county road we have in the county right now, which we have 4 others, this will be the 5th, all of them end with a PR. So it'll be the name of it and private road. Now, your mailing address wouldn't necessarily be the name plus PR, but as far as the Wichita Wilbarger 911, for their records, that will be a ramming crossing PR, which will be a designate for private road, will not be county maintained, will not go into the county inventory, and it'll be listed that way.
And that's to build redundancy, to make sure that for the historical record, if you go back and look at the minutes, you'll see that this is a private road, it's not a county road. But if you're doing just a quick database search, the PR would trigger for everybody that, okay.
And that's what we ran into before, just so the public knows, we've gone back and tried to find when some of these roads have gone into county inventory, or when they came into existence. The records are terrible from many years ago. We have no way to figure out how that happened or when it happened, so this is just to help us
Mickey,
keep it documented.
where's that located on Rogers? Is it north end, south end, middle?
It'll be on the north end, before it's south of 1177.
Okay, yeah, on the north end of Rogers, on the east or west side of the road.
West.
And how far back will that go? Will it be more than one house back there?
There's 4.
4, okay.
I think there's 4 right now, and there's gonna be 5.
Are you gonna designate like a private drive with a name on it up there with a street pole or anything, stop sign?
That we'll have to address. As far as the precinct, putting a private road sign up there,
I just wanna know,
I'll have to-
we start looking
yeah.
for it, we're gonna have to figure out the easiest way to find
and
it.
it should be, I think Wichita Wheelbarger 911 can help us get it to where at least it's listed on Google also, and on
Okay.
Google Maps and that type of stuff. But I can be more than glad to get with you, or send something over to the SO and let them know exactly where it's at, a map of it with all the numbers on it.
Okay,
But I'll get that done.
thank you.
And I'll check on the sign deal.
Yeah.
Or, do y'all know, I know that quite a few years ago, Judge Gossam mentioned to me about our effort to put up street signs everywhere as part of the 911 creation occurred, and that street signs, you know, we used to not really have a name of a street at an intersection or anything. But I guess that's possible to do. Now, we pretty much have everything, a street name on most things.
Other than
These.
thieves. Other than thieves, we get
Yeah.
an extraordinary large amount of
Yeah.
signs still.
But I know, Mickey, and Barry's got Vickers Road or Vickers Court, and there's road signs there as well, so it sure helps when.
Yeah.
Well, it is a heavy maintenance deal though, I saw 2 or 3 missing Sunday whenever I was out
Yeah.
moving around there, they
Ask
disappeared.
Rick
Try
to
Love
keep
Road.
an eye out for them.
Yeah.
We may have to do that, Mark Beecham, 20 foot tall.
Yeah.
Been there.
They're hard
Then they
to
just
get
pull up
to.
to it and run it over. But
Commissioner Beecham.
It's tricky to move.
Yeah, on our minutes from last week, I wanna clarify on the 26.0310.117, for the acceptance of the watercolors. We are not taking ownership of these. We're just, the way it's written, it kinda sounds like that, it says it's donated by the North Texas History Museum. They will maintain ownership of those. We're just being allowed to display them.
Yeah.
So we learned a lot more about pictures and paintings this week than I ever wanted to know.
The documentation on it is good and makes that clear.
But
Um,
this is the official court document that would be referred to in the future if nothing else is available. So I just, that word donated,
loaned?
loaned, yeah.
Okay. Morgan, let's make that change to 117 for that to be loaned. Commissioners, is there any objection to making that change?
It's a more accurate
Yeah, you're right.
description of what we did, so.
Okay. So no objection, we'll make that change to the minutes
Thank you.
from last week. No, it's a good catch.
with that amendment, motion to approve.
Second.
All right, with item 7 removed and the minutes change reflected in item 1, we have a motion by Commissioner Buchanan, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to approve the consent agenda as amended. Do we have any questions or comments on that motion or any of those items? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 1 in general business is review and approve regular bills for payment, verify payroll taxes have been filed, and authorize county treasurer to disperse payroll and or bills within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS electronically, or be picked up and acknowledged by a ledger signature in the treasurer's office.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Mahler, to approve regular bills for payment, verify payroll taxes have been filed, and authorize dispersal of payroll and or bills. Do you have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay. There being 4 ayes, 0 nays, and Commissioner Fincannon abstaining, motion carries. Item number 2, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve one of 3 quotes for document destruction to be paid from Department 409 with lines determined by the county auditor. So special thanks to Van Dotson for getting these quotes. These will be to destroy the documents that were cleared for destruction by the project we had for the JP records and the Lindemann records. There ended up being, how many boxes, Van? About 400?
Yeah, just under.
400 boxes of records, and that all told, that were eligible for destruction, a lot more obviously that had a retention schedule of some sort. So this would be to destroy those boxes. There were 3 quotes. We had one from Paper Pig, which is done, it's $50 for each large bin that gets filled, and those run from 10 to 15 boxes. They'll provide a certificate of destruction, and that's a quote of estimated cost is about $2,000. So if it's at 10 boxes, it's 400 boxes. For that, that's what the math ends up being, is about $2,000. RCI, the company that did the documentation, they had $6.50 per box. They'll provide a certificate of destruction, and their quote at those numbers ends up being about $2,600. And Work Services Corporation did one that was $10 per box, plus there's a service fee, and their total ended up coming out to about $4,350 based on those numbers. So Paper Pig is clearly the least expensive option. Obviously, the county's done business with them for some time. I didn't see a particular reason not to choose them, since they're the cheapest and everything else is largely the same. Do y'all have any?
No, is there, I don't understand the destruction documentation, how that comes into play, but I don't guess they're on records that are outdated or non-needed, to have anything that you could reference back to in 5 years to know that that was destroyed. You don't really have that, do you?
No. I mean, we would have the certificate that
We destroyed some records.
well, and they'll indicate that it was in conjunction with this project and what's outside of the box, because they're all labeled what they are. I think
But we're not gonna list,
No.
okay.
Not
that's
individual
what
documents, no.
My concern, that was making a bunch of work, but.
It's just to prove up to us that they were destroyed in a secure manner, that you can't go back and recreate them, where they weren't just dumped in a landfill.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, second.
The Paper Pig?
Yes.
Okay.
Look,
How many boxes were there altogether?
400.
And we just. that's
Just
a-
for destruction.
That's just a fraction
It's a good start, though. It's a good
Mhm.
start.
that's just a fraction of what we have.
And Van was talking to me about this. Do we want to have an up to amount that's a little bit wiggle room wise in case,
of,
or,
getting hurt.
okay.
Are we still working on boxes now as to, so that's the project?
That first set of, that we had hired them to do is done.
So when you wrap the destruction of the documents in and the sorting through all of the the documents that we found 400 boxes in, what did we do with the non-destructed boxes?
Van, are they still essentially in location, or?
Yes, the boxes that are up on the 4th floor are still there. They're still in the room that they were in initially. All the boxes at the Lindemann building, Rebecca is going to reorganize those. Once we get the boxes to be destroyed out, she'll reorganize everyone, all the ones that are still there, where they're more.
Will these ever move over to there, the leftovers in the 4th floor?
If we
Yeah,
instruct it to, it will happen, but.
And are they graded or something? I mean, when do, let's say there's 500 boxes left, how do we know when we can rework those 500?
They're all labeled.
Where they were all
so-
labeled,
So we
dated,
know
I
what
think.
year we're gonna have to do this every year from
So
now
they've
on.
got a year,
Yeah.
expiration date on them?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
That's good.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve the paper pig quote to be paid from Department 409 with lines determined by the county auditor at an amount up to, add 10% to it to do,
Yeah.
at an amount up to $2,200.
I figured we'll just tell them that we had a few more left here, would you throw it in? They probably.
And is there a way, so like the boxes on the 4th floor, for example, is there a way when we, put a box away that it can have an expiration date on it?
Is there a way? Yes. That would require, though, that as each box goes up, whatever office is responsible for the records retention schedule to go check and see what it is, to make sure that all of the documents that are in there all have a unified retention schedule, which, I just don't think it's going to happen. I mean, we can certainly ask them to do it, but I think that's unrealistic to expect.
But I mean, can just anybody go up there and put a box of paper in that?
For the 4th floor, though, JP's are the only ones who have a key to those.
But they can put them in there without the records clerk knowing anything about it at Linderman?
Correct, because the records clerk is not responsible for those records, the justices are. It's county government, we're all responsible for our own records.
But I mean, it seems to me the only reason to ever go through them is you're out of room on where you're stuffing them in the closet.
Well, I mean, I think that when we talked about this with the original RCI, was to get us to a cleaner foundational spot so that we can then stay on top of it in an easier way. It would not be hard on an annual basis moving forward to either have them come in or to task our records clerk with going in and doing the same thing. It's just the level of built up documents that we have is such that we needed somebody professionally to do it.
Will we save and reuse the boxes? Or do they go in the shredder?
I think actually we can keep the boxes, they will dump them into their roll-off tubs.
I mean, we're gonna need them,
Sure,
moving
sure.
forward, so.
We'll put 400 banker boxes in Commissioner Mahler's office.
Never mind.
But yeah, we can keep them.
They're moving me out.
All right, are there any other questions or comments on that motion? All right, motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 3, discuss, consider, and/or take action on continuing or terminating the county burn ban. Lynn is filling in this morning. I also asked him as part of this discussion just to give us a high-level overview of the fires on Sunday, just as a public information service. Go ahead, Lynn.
Yes, sir. Good morning, gentlemen, ladies. First, I'd like to just say that we haven't changed our opinion on keeping the burn ban in effect. Fuels are still out there. Weather forecast is no rain for a significant period. And we're looking at probably, if you watch different weather channels, there's probably gonna be well over 100 on Saturday. So that's gonna make an interesting Saturday. As far as today, we're in a red flag today from 11 to 7. Temperature high is supposed to get to 72, but the relative humidity is supposed to remain between 10 and 16%. So that's no moisture at all. Winds are gonna, at least the winds are not Sunday winds. They're supposed to be 15 to 20 with gusts up to 35, but that'll still travel once something starts. So, other than that, we recommend to keep the burn ban. As far as the fires on Sunday, they started early in the morning, mid-morning. Started with high winds breaking several telephone poles in different areas of the county. 2 of them fell down that I'm aware of, landed on either a house or landed in the field and started fires. I think one was in Iowa Parks District, and I think the other one may have been in KMA's district. I did not respond to either of those. I went to what is known as the radar fire, And I'd like to start off by saying kudos to the National Weather Service at Norman. I don't know if you have seen or heard of hotspots, but they have a hotspot forecast that is immediately sent out to fire chiefs and emergency managers when they believe there's a fire that started. And it gave us a jump start on the Walker Road fire, Riley Loop fire, because it came in before anybody even toned it out.
Wow.
So we had fire departments en route to that area. But the Walker Road fire, Riley Ranch Loop fire is the one I was on. Ended up to be about 500 acres. I think it was reported to the state at 482. It started on Riley Loop, jumped several roads, including Wythe School, and Panhandle, trying to get it contained. We were trying to do backburns in that area so that we could have the fires burn into itself and get more black. But the wind would shift on us before we even got a chance to get a fire on the ground. We had 7 departments out there, including the Texas Forest Service and the strike team that was up in the area. So we had plenty of units out there. A lot of the areas also had wires where 10 roofs had come off and gone into the wires. So we had a couple of those even in Burke, and we had a couple others. I'm not sure we had all the departments out there work really well together on the Riley Loop Walker fire or the radar fire. We contained it. We started just before noon is when it came in. I don't think we left until after probably 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock that night.
Well, and I want to commend and just say I appreciate, like even before Dwayne called me on Sunday, Matthew Childs with TDM had called me to make sure that I was aware of the fire and everyone was responding. That the system between the state and locals has worked well for some time now and worked really well on Sunday too, from everything I have seen and heard.
It worked really great.
Communication was there. They had a ton of resources already staged. That it helped that it was so close to where I think the Forest Service already had some stuff staged. But they have the equipment and the resources to help, and the system seems to be working like it's supposed to.
Before we left the radar fire that night, Forest Service cut in lines on both sides, so it had a good containment line around it all the way. There's still some hot spots and still some smoke out there, but that's gonna continue. There's oil field, piping, polypipe that burn through that until the flow stops, you're gonna have flames out there once in a while.
Lynn, one of the things I noticed, and I was monitoring the radio through that whole thing, is our upgrades and changing out our communication system has been a big benefit, I think, to us for those departments being able to communicate better, and that's probably gonna be an ongoing project that we'll need, but it's better than it used to be, for sure.
It is much better than it used to be, and the communications between all the departments is really working well.
Yeah. I just sat and monitored it, and you could tell it was working, and everybody knew what everybody else was doing, and there was a time when we didn't know that, and
Yes.
it makes a big difference, huge difference.
The communication's very important, but I will commend the EMO staff, the collaboration between the county, the EMO, the rural fire departments now is probably better than it's ever been. And that's just because we all meet, we all talk.
Yep.
I think we do work good together.
I think
Thank you.
so. It's a good system, and we've got it not fine-tuned, because everything can be improved, but we can work really well together with all the departments.
We were able to help out, because
Yeah.
when there was possibilities of it had jumped some other areas, we were able to get to their days work. I went to that one in Owl Park, and it burned some outbuildings, but it was kept away from the houses, and one of them, they were at, it was a big fire. Good thing there was a wheat field there, and green wheat field it came into,
It looked for a
because it
few
was headed towards
minutes,
your place.
yeah, it looked for a few minutes like it was gonna go right back down that avenue where we've had a bad fire the last 2 years.
Peterson.
We got onto
The
that.
Peter Switch fire and the
Yeah,
Hawkeye
that-
fire.
And that's got grass that
Oh,
tall
yeah,
out there,
It's,
waiting.
but, you know, you mentioned humidity, and one of the things that helped us out there Sunday is we ran into a corner with a couple of big green wheat fields, and that sure did
Exactly.
help. You get down there about 10% or less, that green weed will burn. We've seen it.
Oh, yes.
So that humidity is vitally important, and you get into those low humidity days, and it doesn't bring the help that you'd like to think. But no, it was just a good effort. I think first thing I saw when I got on the scene was that silver emergency management truck, and I thought, okay, we're in pretty good shape.
That's right.
And sure enough, we were. He was on it. So,
We appreciate, besides the communications with all the departments, the communications with the sheriff's office has
Yeah.
been great, because we know what deputies are out there, where they're at. Either get them to move if they need to move somewhere else, and what roads we need blocked. So that works great. I'm not sure how many of them were out there, but
Myself and Wilson's only two that came out extra, other than just shift guys, but I know Dwayne, I don't know if you do, they have capability of seeing my fleet on their phone, so they can see where our deputies are at
Oh,
too,
cool.
out there.
That
Yeah.
helps.
and the deputies, were much better versed on what needed to go and what didn't need to go. And there's a real fine line there when you get on one of those scenes as to, you know, what do you hold back, and what do you not? And they're just much better trained than they were even a few years ago. You can just see it.
well,
and it works.
a bunch of, several of
Several
them
went to
attended
Fire
attended
yeah.
the fire school
Yeah.
this past February, and they were in the class on what to watch for and how to
Yeah.
report, because normally the deputies are gonna be there first.
Yeah.
Well, to wrap a bow on it, I don't think the court wants to take any action on
No.
discontinuing the burn ban.
We need it.
I did ask Morgan, we'll have renewal, because it expires I think on the 27th. We'll have renewal on court agenda for next week. And in the meantime, yeah, thank you and kudos to EMO, SO, all of our volunteer fire departments, the state partners who helped. Training matters and ability to communicate matters, and we seem to be better at that right now than we have been ever. So,
Yes, sir.
good job. Thank you.
Having that
Thank you.
strike team in your backyard.
It's a
is
nice
huge.
thing to have.
It is huge.
Yeah. All right, Commissioners, no action on that item? Okay. All right, it is 10:38. At this time, we will be moving into a closed session for two items. One is a briefing and discussion with the Civil Chief of the District Attorney's Office regarding potential LEC construction litigation. That's closed pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, and discussions with the IT Department regarding the Centrio fiber quote for fiber installation and renewal. That one is closed pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.089. If you are not authorized to remain in the courtroom, I'll ask that you vacate at this time. Greg, will you get with our guest currently 10:56. We are back in open session. There's one item on this open session agenda here for discuss, consider, and/or take action to accept the Centrio fiber quote in the amount of $7,248 for fiber installation and renewal to be paid from Department 412 with lines determined by the county auditor. Do we have a motion?
Yes. Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon to accept the Centrio fiber quote in the amount of $72.48 for fiber installation renewal to be paid from Department 412. Do you have any questions or comments on that motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. It is 10.